The Maricopa County Attorney's Office says that a man who is a grave threat to the community will spend the rest of his life in prison. Good evening and thanks so much for joining us for 12 News at 10. I'm Kariba Devine.
I'm Mark Curtis. 60-year-old Gary Cox was sentenced today after murdering his girlfriend, and he killed her less than 4 months after being released from prison for killing his wife. 12 News journalist Bianca Bono obtained court records in this disturbing case. She joins us live in studio. And Bianca, everyone's got to be wondering when they hear this, how did this happen?
Yeah, Mark Caribe. Gary Cox was convicted of manslaughter back in 2001 and released in 2020. Records show he had more than a dozen disciplinary infractions while he was in prison, and he began committing crimes again within days of his release. For the second time, Gary Linnell Cox was found guilty of killing a woman with his bare hands. This time, he's been sentenced to natural life in prison. And court records show his history of extreme violence started back in 1989 when he was convicted of attempted murder. In 2000, when Cox was on supervised probation, he brutally killed his wife. He was convicted of manslaughter, a Class 2 felony, and sentenced to 18.5 years. While behind bars, records show he incurred 17 disciplinary infractions. And from 2016 to 2018, he was deemed high risk, but he was released in 2020. Within days, police arrested him for smoking crack cocaine. Less than 4 months later, in August of 2020, he murdered his girlfriend, Julie Lee Munoz. Tempe police say they were tipped off by Cox's own brother, getting a welfare call from him to a room at the Super 8 motel, where they found Munoz's body with dozens of injuries consistent with blunt force trauma. Bleach was found throughout the room, evidence Cox tried to cover up his crimes. Following his arrest, records show Cox's legal team tried to argue he was not mentally competent, but the court ruled that he was. And on Friday, the career criminal's violent spree was finally ended. He was sentenced to life in prison. And going back to that 2000 case in which the details are incredibly disturbing, it's unclear why Cox was convicted of manslaughter rather than first or second degree murder. I do want to mention, if you or someone you know is experiencing abuse, we do have domestic violence resources listed on our website right now, 12news.com. Bianca Bono, 12 News.
Bianca, thanks.